everybody, I'm Melissa Hunter, the mommy in Mommy and Gracie show, and also the owner of Family Video Network. And it's a network, very small network, dedicated to kids and family content. And I'm here to talk today about toy videos, because there recently has been some confusion about communication coming from YouTube about toy videos. And I realized that if I were to write this, it would become this big, long post. And so instead, I am making a video, and I ask you to please share this on groups that you're a part of to sort of clear up the confusion. So the question recently came up: does YouTube support toy videos, toy reviewers, toy unboxings? And the answer that some people thought they got back from YouTube was no. That unless there is an educational component to toy content, YouTube is not going to support toy content. That is so not the actual communication. I have talked to YouTube about this and talked to the YouTube Kids and Family division, and I want to help clarify it for you. So part of it is that sometimes people use terminology interchangeably, as if toy reviews and making skits with toys and toy unboxing are all the same thing. And if you're in the toy YouTube world, you know that they're not. You know that we call the channels where you don't see the people and you just see the hands opening toys, we call them faceless toy channels. And then there's people like me who are on camera with toys. And then there are people who create scripts and do really cool little skits with toys, and there's a whole bunch of toy content. But there is also a type of toy content that does fall under the YouTube does not support this toy content. And so I want to kind of clarify for you, if I can, what that is. That is the mind-numbing hypnotic toy content that is just someone opening toys. There's just hands opening toys with music. There's no narrative. There's no interaction with the audience. There's just music and the opening of toys. That's what we're talking about. When YouTube says that content for children should be enriching, what they mean is, they don't mean you need to be teaching the ABCs while you're unboxing a Barbie. B is for Barbie. How do you spell Barbie, kids? Okay, that's not what they're talking about. By enriching, we mean not mind-numbing, not hypnotic. Enriching, we want interactive content. And, you know, talk to the kids. So you're let's say you're unboxing some blind bags, okay? We're opening up some blind bags. We've got some music grooving in the background, but don't just make this sort of silent hypnotic video where you open up blind bags and like, ooh, look at this one. And then we open up another blind bag. Ooh, cow. Okay, let's not do that. That's where it becomes hypnotic. That's where you get the toddler that sort of sits in their high chair drooling with the iPad in front of them. That's not what we want. Content where you're interacting, where you're talking about what you're doing. Oh, what do you think we're gonna get in the next one, kids? Can you guess? Things where you ask, especially if your audience is preschoolers and smaller children, do you remember watching TV, you know, before the internet? I remember watching black and white TV. And I remember watching those shows and being asked, me in the audience, to point to something at my television screen. That is interactive. No, they're not. You don't really know what they're pointing at, but they don't know that. So when you're opening something up, you can say, you know, if you've got a bunch of toys and you're like, point to the blue one. Can you find the cow? Point to the cow. That's enriching. That gets them to interact. It gets them to think. Point to your favorite blind bag doodad that I opened today. Ask them to do things like that. When we have older audiences, we ask them to comment. We ask them to get involved through poll cards. When you have a younger audience, it's a little bit harder because they can't do any of those things. And on the kids app, they can't interact in that way. But they can interact with their little fingers. Point to this. Point to the one you liked. Ask them questions. What do you think the next one's going to be? Say it out loud. So instead of sitting there and drooling, they might say, cow, you know, and their parents would be like, whoa, what's going on there, you know? Well, the child's still alive. They're over there in the corner with the iPad. I forgot I had a child. Let's face it, you've seen that situation. The other question is excessive consumerism. So as a toy channel, I'm like, what exactly is excessive consumerism? So where excessive consumerism comes into play here is in creating, and this is really weird as a toy tuber to contemplate, creating a mindset where kids think they need to have them all to be happy. And so one of the things that I'm changing for my personal channels and that I recommend to toy channels is let's not unbox entire cases of blind boxes anymore. You know, it's a big thing, right? Unboxing an entire case of the new Doodads, Season 10 Doodads. I've got an entire case of Season 10 Doodads. Let's unbox it. I know that that's been a big thing for us. But I also, when I step back as a parent, look back to my training as a teacher. Yes, I was supposed to be a teacher. Ooh, life just really throws you curves sometimes. And I think about the way children think, the way their brains operate. I can see how that was creating a negative situation for children where they wanted an entire case. And there was disappointment because they couldn't have an entire case. You know, the beauty of small collectibles is that kids can buy them with their allowance money because of the price point. And when we do something like, I'm opening up an entire case that I spent $500 on eBay, we're kind of messing that up a little bit. Yes, we're driving sales of the product and the toy companies really like that, but I think we also need to think more responsibly about the way we create that content. So another thing to think about is toy hauls. As the doll hunters, we have been extremely guilty of going into a store and dumping all the dolls that we wanted into the shopping cart. And I realize that that is excessive consumerism and that that's what we're encouraging. We're also creating a problem for parents because they're like, they go to the store and the kids are like, Mommy and Gracie gets to put all of the dolls in the cart. Why can't I? So we do need to be more mindful of it. I am honestly considering how I want to handle doll hunting videos in the future. Where does that come into play with creating an overly consumer-driven group of children? I don't know. I'm still thinking about it. I think maybe they won't be something I do every week. I'm still toying with it. Another important thing to talk about is the language that we use when we're presenting toys, when we're unboxing toys. Many of us are sent toys by toy brands in order to promote those toys. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. What we need to start adjusting is the language that we use when we're presenting those toys, and even toys that we buy ourselves. There are rules out there in the advertising world about selling to children, and we need to start looking at those rules. And so you have to be very careful about what you say when you are presenting toys to children. You should not be saying, go out and buy these at your local store, kids. That's consumer language that we should not be using with children. You can say that these are coming out soon, or, you know, these are out in Target and Walmart now. You can say you can find these at Target and Walmart. But be careful to avoid language like, so look for these on the shelves at Toys R Us. That is actually considered selling to children. Whereas saying that these are available at Target, Walmart, and Toys R Us, or these are coming out now at Target and Toys R Us and Walmart, saying I got this at Target, Toys R Us, and Walmart, instead of I bought this On sale now? No, we don't talk about selling. So be very, very careful about the language that you're using when communicating about the purchase of toys with children. I am going to link you to some information about selling to children, and that will hopefully clarify this a little bit more. The last point that I want to make, which used to be key for me when Gracie was my sidekick and she was a child, is about children selling to children. This is also a very critical area. And in the advertising world, there are, again, a lot of guidelines and rules around children selling to children. Basically, children cannot sell to children. So if your children are the ones making the toy videos, or you make the toy videos with your children, just don't have them say any of the things about that these toys are available in these stores. We got these at Walmart. You can, as a parent behind the camera, do a, you know, from behind the camera, mom or dad saying, you know, today Gracie's gonna open up some of these doodads that we found at Walmart. Parent can say it. Kid can't say it. No. Kids cannot encourage kids to go purchase things. So don't have your kids encourage kids to go purchase things. Also, one of the things that we are all often asked to promote is apps, like phone apps and games. Your kids cannot ask other kids to download apps. That is considered selling to kids. So the kids might play the app, show the app, talk about how much fun they have with the app, but your kids can't say, so go download this app. I know, it's a fine line, but it's something that we need to be really considerate of, and it is something that the folks over at YouTube, as the world of toy tubing continues to grow and kids' content continues to grow, they are having to become more mindful of those rules that exist in the advertising world. So how do my kids unbox toys without selling to other kids? Like, how do we do that? If you do standard toy unboxings, or your children do standard toy unboxings, you're probably doing it mostly right anyway right now, especially with little kids, because what do when the toy is out of the box? They play with it. So kids showing other kids how they play with the toy, what they think about the toy. I think this is cute because it's a pony. I really like ponies. Or, you know, I think this is really fun because I don't know what's inside. You know, one of the beautiful things about rethinking the way you approach this is that you may become less scripted with your children. Let your children actually share their actual reactions to the toys. How are toy brands going to feel about this? Well, they don't really have a choice now, do they? Honestly, these are rules that they have been living within in traditional advertising for decades. So, and they evolve. They're constantly evolving, and they are very good at evolving with those things. So if you're asked in contracts and as brands come to you, and I know I do a lot of, you know, paid brand negotiation for channels with toy companies, and I am informing the toy companies, by the way, of, you know, sort of the shifts. I keep them all informed. But if there's language that they want you to use in the contract that you know goes against these guidelines, which, by the way, you won't see anywhere right now. They're not in any community guidelines or advertiser guidelines at this time. They're not there. So I'm just letting you know ahead of time so that you can be on the right side of this when it eventually makes its way into becoming a guideline. By the way, these guidelines already existed according to, you know, different watchdog groups, the FTC, COPPA, like these things already existed. And in the world of YouTube, we've just sort of been doing our own thing, but we've been doing it wrong. So we need to stop doing that. We need to start doing it right. But if there's something that a toy brand wants you to say, or wants your children to say, that you know goes against all of the stuff we just talked about, just push back on them and say, I'm sorry, that falls under the category of kids selling to kids, or that encourages excessive consumerism, and we can't do that. That's all. That's all. They understand these terms, by the way. Excessive consumerism, creating a consumer culture in children, kids selling to kids. They know all these terms because they deal with them outside of the YouTube world. And now it's just something that we need to bring into the YouTube world, so it's not going to take anyone by surprise. You may actually look more professional than they thought you were. Oh my gosh, Melissa, I've got 2,000 videos where I did it wrong. Don't panic. Just going forward, just change the way you say and do things. Like, I'm not going back and like deleting my videos where we opened a case of something. If it should come up as an issue with YouTube at some point, then I will. But I think hopefully this is not going to be a retroactive thing like some other changes that we've recently gone through. If it does happen retroactively, we'll deal with it just like we deal with everything else. But let's just do the right thing moving forward. I know this is a confusing topic. I don't know if I did the best job at communicating the concepts. That's why I'm going to link you to some documents down below. By all means, feel free to reach out to us at Family Video Network, info@familyvideonetwork.com. Don't worry, I'm not going to hard sell you to join Family Video Network, because we are actually very selective about who gets to join the family. Anyway, but we do want to be, we want to continue to be very active overall on the YouTube Kids and Family platform in making sure that the message gets out, that we helped clear up confusion, that we can be a resource where we can answer your questions, because what's good for YouTube Kids and Family is good for Family Video Network. You know, it's kind of selfish. And, you know, I know where you're coming from. I have multiple toy channels myself, so I need to change some things. Some things I was already aware of, some things I needed to rethink, and so I'm open to answering your questions on this. Maybe down the road, we'll do after Toy Fair. After Toy Fair, we might host some sort of an online, you know, like a Google Hangout where you guys can ask questions and we can try to clear up things for you. But for now, please understand, YouTube is not hating on toy channels or toy content, okay? Creating enriching content does not mean that toy unboxings need to suddenly become educational endeavors, okay? If you make play along with me videos with toys already where there's stories and there's interaction with the toys, you're okay. If you are making videos where all you do is open up toys and there's no talking or interaction or requests for interactivity back and forth between the viewer and your content, change your content. Start doing, like I said, point to the one you liked best. Point to the cow. Point to the color blue, okay? Get the kids thinking. Don't lull them into a hypnotic state of drooling mindlessness. We should all be doing that anyway, right? So I know the hypnotized drooling toddlers are great for view time. They're probably not great for the future of the world though. So add a little bit of enrichment into those videos if that's the kind of content that you make. Again, if you have any questions, let us know. I hope this cleared some things up, because I know there were a lot of questions about this in the past week, and I'm sure there will continue to be questions. I thank you very much for watching. If you do want to apply to join Family Video Network, you can go to our website and apply. As I said, it's very, very selective and small, but we are open to looking for new family members all the time, and we hope that you guys have a great day. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.